What's up, AfterBuzzers? We are here for another episode of Real World. Actually, we get two for the price of one, and I'm excited because Jenna finally got somebody for her. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Get it.
Hey,
I didn't even know who sang this song.
CC Peterson, boy.
Man,
You a young buck. You don't know about that.
learn something new every day.
But you heard the song.
I heard it.
You heard the song.
I heard the song.
This song went hard, boy.
It's a good song.
Yes, bomb song. CC Peniston. This is
Peniston.
back what? Oh my gosh, I'm trying to think. There was so many good artists back then. I really liked what you call it. What's the song?
Come on, man. I didn't know
I
who
can't
sang
think.
this one.
It's getting late. It's getting late. My
is
memory is
getting late.
failing. Oh my gosh. I'll think of it. It'll come back to me. But yeah, this is definitely CC Peniston finally, and this is for Jenna because finally she got somebody for her. But I'm Gonsalves. I'm your host for tonight. And always, we get down here, and I got my boy, my man. I'm gonna let him introduce himself because that's how Bob he is. He's to my left, and it's just us two tonight. Who are you, sir?
Well, who am I? My name is Michael Rippe.
Yes!
You could find me on Twitter, on Instagram, Snapchat, social media, at Mike Rips.
Mike Rips. It's me and Mike tonight.
It's just us.
Me and Mike tonight and CC Peniston. And we're gonna
CC
cover
Peniston.
2 episodes. We're gonna get it cracking.
One's not enough. We got 2.
We got 2. We were blessed with 2 episodes by the MTV gods. And so we're gonna knock them out. And we're going to get to it.
Let's do it.
You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So we start off. Cat starts playing Truth or Dare. And then we start hearing some crazy stuff about like who would sleep with who. I was surprised. Were you surprised when Sabrina said she would sleep with Dean?
A little. I thought it was the weakest Truth or Dare I've ever seen, by the way. Just for the record.
Well, there was no dares, first of
it
all.
was just a couple of truths.
Yeah,
and, move
and then
along.
it was
What
like-
was that was just filler.
Yeah,
you
it
can
was-
do better, MTV. Come on.
Well, I mean, I don't think it didn't go crazy like they thought it would go. So it was just like, oh.
Kayla took her top off.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
Standard.
I mean, but that's nothing.
Right.
But she can do that on a Wednesday. Didn't need a game for that. Right.
Thank
exactly.
you. The engineer's
exactly.
on point.
So we, of course, it goes back to Jenna, and she's basically saying, people forgot about her, and Jenna's always about like her, and she feels like she's the outcast, and she's been feeling this way, and it's her fault. I mean, she keeps saying that I'm not like anybody else, but the thing is, everyone is different. That's the whole point of being cast on the show. No one person is just like another person. And they do that because they want to have all these different personalities and backgrounds in one place and kind of see how they interact and see what goes on. So, but the other people in the house have learned to kind of get to know one another for the most part and get along, whereas Jenna is so, blindsided by the way she's brought up that she doesn't want to learn more about anyone else. So then she just considers herself an outcast and she puts that on herself. That's in the story. So Dion starts talking about his boy Morning Beer.
Morning Bear. By the way, can we hold on one second? Engineer, can we get the live chat going on our
Yes.
screen? So if there's people with us that we could talk to them, thank you.
Yeah, that would be dope because I think some people might have a lot to say about what's going down.
That's right.
So we have, he starts talking about his boy Morning Beer, and then all of a sudden his ex calls Amanda, and they're talking, on the little Skype situation.
The Carney Queen, Amanda.
Carney Queen, right? And Morning Beer is part of his Carney crew.
The Carney crew.
Right. And so it's about to get carny real soon. It's like really carny. And so she's, starts talking about, his ex coming. The house wants to know more about Dean, which was interesting because Dean has, we learned a lot about him. I've said this before, that we learned about him at the very beginning. He was the one that was getting a divorce, and we kind of learned that right away, when everyone's introducing themselves. But we didn't really see much more about that. Mm-hmm. We didn't really dwell. Like, they did let us go to where, he actually went to court down in LA, but that was kind of it. We didn't really get in depth about Dean like we did with CJ, like we've done with Jenna, and like we've done with Chris. I mean, there's just so many people that we've been able to talk to, or sorry, not talk to, but learn about. And we haven't really learned a lot about Dean. So they're kind of calling him out and wanting to know more about him. He does talk about, his dad being very strict, African father, and kind of taught him not to show weakness, which is why he kind of stays pretty guarded and kind of has these different personalities to kind of match up his surroundings. What do you think about that with Dean?
Well, I mean, Dean, I guess, hasn't shared that much with the group. He was going through a tough time at the start of the season with his breakup. And it seems like he's been opening up recently a little bit. And we see that as the multiple episodes tonight show, that he's opens up a little bit more. But he's taken to Dion and CJ a lot, and then they have a little crew formed. And it seems like he really enjoys the Carney crew as they show up. I think it would be nice to mention that it wasn't clear to me that Dion knew that Amanda was coming, because he had that call with her,
right?
And she kind of showed up with morning beer.
Oh no, she didn't. He didn't know that at all.
He didn't know that.
He knew that she was. He knew that they were coming at some point. At
some point, right?
Because she knew Amanda was coming like early in the show. He was like, "Oh yeah, she's gonna come later, in the show or whatever." And he knew that his boys was coming at some point in time. But when they showed up, he didn't realize it was going to be that day. And so they both show up together, and basically he's like, "Oh, going crazy."
It's a takeover.
Yeah, takeover. And then we find out that the whole crew, not just them two, but
the
entire crew,
which is
the Carney crew,
Mike, who's Sally, I guess that's his nickname, and another friend, Mark,
right,
are part of the crew, and they're in Vegas, so they show up.
So they show up,
and it's a takeover.
Exactly, super takeover. Kayla's not happy right away because
it's awkward.
Of course, the whole Amanda situation. She slept with Dion. Amanda knows that, and so she kind of, in the way she kind of come off, and she gave that stank face that one time, and so she kind of put everybody off. So she's just like kind of keeping her distance, doesn't want to create drama, which is good.
Yeah, I think it makes it more uncomfortable when someone
specifically.
It's obviously going to be uncomfortable, but the fact that there was no introduction. Amanda was in the house for a while there, and it made it awkward. I mean, she made the phone call, talking about this is awkward, and clearly that's just the longer that goes and persists, the longer it gets a little bit more weird.
Right.
So really, thank you guys for joining us in the live chat, by the way. So anyways, it was just a little awkward, that phase. I mean, Amanda came in like a fireball too.
Right.
She's
oh my gosh, she was on 22.
Like a wrecking crew.
She was on 22, but she also the interesting part about her is she, could sense the awkwardness.
Oh, she loved it.
And she basically, she's like, I want there to be drama. Like there was one point, and she was just like, I want to start some stuff. She's like being too passive for me. I want her to get in my face. I want to start some stuff. And that to me is why I didn't really care for Amanda, because of how she came in. Like she could have came in cool. Of course, if someone started something with her, then yeah, I could see defending herself. But she wanted, like she was thriving on the turn up. And she was specifically trying, and I like how they called her out, she was trying to get camera time.
Yeah, absolutely. And also I think, listen, it's not, the cast of The Real World does not live in this place forever, but this is their show. Kayla's part of that cast. I didn't appreciate the way that Amanda barged in and took over as though she's the one kind of in charge of the house. I just seen, it's a little off-putting to me, personally. Right. I think she was trying to hide something, Amanda, really deep down inside of her, to try to come in that hot. What I found interesting, there was a scene when Amanda and Dion, they're getting freaky in the shower, and Dean walks in.
Oh, yeah.
The way that Dion runs out, he's got the shower door. He sees a naked Amanda in there, and the way that moment is shown is incredible. It's like he's never seen a naked woman.
Right. He's just staring at her.
He's frozen.
And he's like closing the door like slow motion.
Never have you seen a door close slower or more weird. So that was.
But she also wasn't like bothered by it either.
No, not at all.
She wasn't bothered by it.
That was some good camera work.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting scene. I didn't know what to think about that. That was confusing, but I enjoyed it for sure.
Yeah, that was funny. So the other Carney people show up and of course take over the house. They all go out. And Kayla again is still not happy. Her and Amanda finally talk, so they finally talk. And then Amanda starts getting jealous because again, she's wanting attention. Here's Dion.
Starved for attention.
Oh gosh. Here's Dion. He has his other friends, plus his housemates who he's been living with for the last couple of months or so. And she's here, and it's like he's trying to give equal opportunity. And she just wants all the attention on her. And she's just like, oh, you're not giving me attention. Like, what's going on? He's like, I'm trying to You know what I'm saying?
Realistically, I mean, obviously they cut it a certain way. I didn't think that he wasn't paying her attention. It seemed like he was just hanging out with everyone, and she just wanted so much attention. I mean, she told Jenna to twerk on her. She told Kayla, don't be basic. The things, it was one after another, and they don't even know each other, really.
Exactly.
It seemed Amanda was just looking for the cameras, looking for attention, and it was so overbearing, really. I just was like, get off the show.
You could tell, again, basically what was going on with her. She wants all the attention, but she not only wants the attention of Dion, she wants the attention focused on her, period. And that's kind of how she's rolling. We have Kay Bassie that says Dean was creepy with that shower scene.
That whole scene was just creepy
like a creepy uncle.
It was a nice moment.
Creepy uncle. So they all come back to the house. And then Jenna starts in and starts talking about how she doesn't want to embarrass her friends and family on the show. Because we have, of course, Amanda's, talking to her and just like, girl, you need to be yourself and all this kind of stuff. And the house is chiming in and saying, yeah, we've been telling her that, but she won't. And she's like, no, I don't want to do that. And then Dean, which is interesting because, and of course, everyone's been drinking, so everything is heightened at this point, whenever there's alcohol involved. And Dean gets up and basically goes in on her. And he calls her out and gets in her face. And this is something that we haven't really seen. Like, we've, of course, seen CJ and them go at it a few times. We've seen her go at it with some of the other girls. We've seen her go out with Kayla. We've seen her pretty much go at it with pretty much everyone. But this is a time where Dean, because, even Dean was kind of like her friend for a while. Like, it was just them two for a minute, towards the beginning. So he's just frustrated. And I think he ends up calling her out. And she basically, feels threatened, and she actually pulls him the next day, pulls him aside and is like, yo, you really, can you not do that again? Because I really felt scared. It was reminiscent of my mom and how she, wanted to throw me around, or I felt like you were going to choke me and throw me. I mean, it was just, she was kind of, I understand, her being a woman, you shouldn't talk to a woman like that. And I think that's where Dean made the mistake. I understand he was frustrated with her, and I think everyone is frustrated with her at this point. And he just was tired of it, and he blew up. The way he went about it was wrong, but also the fact that she knows that he's not going to do anything like that to her. And I think it was a situation where she started, and this is why CJ got involved, because CJ was kind of like, yo, it's a bigger issue.
So here's the way I feel about it. I don't think that Dean at any point was going to do anything to Jenna.
Of course not.
I don't really believe that Jenna thought Dean was going to do something to her.
Of course not.
The way that Dean approached it, I think could have been better.
Absolutely.
I think the way that Jenna talked to him the next day and said, please talk to me like a person, I appreciated that. I thought that was the smart way to go about it. I think CJ didn't have all the information, is the way I took it. Because CJ wasn't there during the confrontation. She just heard a little bit of it from Dean, made assumptions because based on how the season's been going, there's already heightened tensions, a lot of frustrations with everybody, really. There's a little thing going on here or there with everyone, good, bad, it's crazy. And it's just all of it was a little unnecessary. And I really think it stemmed from Amanda being there. Amanda was creating drama in general. That created Kayla to be on her toes. That created everyone was a little bit on their toes. I mean, even Kayla, Jenna, and Sabrina felt left out at one point that they went out without them. And so I didn't like this scene in general because I thought that CJ didn't have all the information. So I thought it was just it was one of the situations where CJ's sticking up for Dean. And I can appreciate that,
of course.
And I just don't think she had all the information. I feel like if she had a minute to see it, she might have approached it just a little differently because she's already. This is right after last episode, where she's already really caught up at Jenna. So anything that she can get into, she's ready to. So that. It's just all messy, really.
It is messy, but also you have to understand that, and again, I do agree with you with saying CJ didn't have all the information, but she's and when I say she, I'm talking about Jenna. She's already shown herself to be have racist, tendencies. And when it comes to someone like Dean and him getting in her face, I guess what she's saying is if one of the other guys did the exact same thing, it wouldn't have been that reaction.
That might be true. I think that in this scenario, and I don't like the racist card. It's a difficult situation. First of all, I can't speak to it from being on the, a black person. I'm a white person. So it's hard for me to speak to it. I don't know Jenna's past at all. I don't pretend to. I can only go by what I say. Whether I think that these things happen, she's making it up. I don't think you should scream at her whoever you are. So if she wants to say something happened in her past and she didn't appreciate the way Dean approached her, I'm not going to judge anything past that. And the same manner that I just thought CJ didn't have the information totally to kind of come at Jenna. And then, I don't know, it's a tough situation. I don't like the whole get into the racist card, really, to be honest. I agree that Jenna has done plenty of things, but I think it comes down to two wrongs don't make a right also. So it's not keep piling on where I did something wrong, so now you could do something wrong, and then I could do two things wrong, and then I hate this continuation of a well, this is what happened in the past. I just don't like it. That's the way I see it.
Okay, so
you know what I mean? It's tricky.
If you look at it from the other side, and I'm glad they really had the scene where CJ is kind of going bad on the girls. She's sticking up for Dean, and basically, because this is later on, and she's sticking up for Dean, and basically like, who wants to come for him, and just kind of, and the reason why she's doing it is because Dean is feeling some kind of way. And because Dean and CJ are both the African-American people in the household, they have that common bond when it comes to just the world in general. And so, again, the way that she put it out, I didn't agree with her calling the girls out or what have you. However, when you can see the emotion that CJ had and that she exuded, and you see the emotion that Dean had, that was the first time I don't think I've seen him cry like that at all this whole season. And to see him breaking down, and for me, because I can speak from that as an African American, he was basically talking about being tired of being judged for his appearance. Because if you think of, in someone who is African American and he's, a bigger guy, sometimes you can be perceived as being threatening, and you're not.
Absolutely.
You're just trying to be nice, or you're just trying to do whatever. Or you're just minding your business.
And she did talk about how, most people, they come from the hood and they've got nothing and no one gets out. And I didn't come from the hood. I can't speak to that. So I can't ever pretend to know exactly that situation. I can only listen and understand and try to see where people get it. And I totally get where CJ is sticking up for Dean, and that idea, like, Dean is open and he's feeling like, I got to change the way I talk and act around certain people just because of the color of my skin.
Right.
So I get where he's coming from in the perspective of I see it, I can understand what he's saying, and that's an emotional thing, and that's tough. And I see CJ sticking up for him. I think that CJ definitely should stick up for him, and I think that the connection to Jenna in that scenario, like Jenna has done plenty wrong. I didn't think in that scenario, it just seemed it was just drama filled in that scenario.
But again, when you have a situation where, and we've said this before,
because
on the show.
CJ was calling out Kayla. Remember, she calls out Kayla and Jenna. If your name starts with K or J, get out here now. Let's go at it.
She was calling out Kayla, but she also said afterwards that it wasn't really for her specifically.
It was 80% for Jenna, 20% for Kayla.
Because Kayla had some words too, and that's why she was calling out. Again, I'm not saying that it was right. The approach was correct. All I'm saying is understanding why someone would do that and feel that way. And if you have to live in a situation, and we're talking about, regardless of the show, we're talking about society, and you have to live like that as an African American and put on these faces because, you can be perceived as offensive, or you can be perceived as scared or scary or something to that notion, and having to continue to do that in wherever he lives or wherever he's from, it's a tough thing to do.
Sure.
And sometimes you break down. And for him, again, it was a situation where they both kind of came together. And I thought it was a great moment for them to have, not only with each other, but to show the rest of the house that this is a bigger issue. Normally you don't have to live with someone who is, racist or a bigot or prejudiced or whatever. You don't have to be friends with them. You don't have to do anything with them. But this is a situation where they have to coexist with one another. And because Jenna is so far removed from changing, then it creates it hard, and it's like, you can ignore, but after a while, man, it gets tough.
It does.
Gets tough. It gets tough.
I'd just say that I think there's something to be said, though, that on the flip side, it's not. Forget Dean. It's not. I didn't think that it was appropriate as far as anybody screaming at anybody in that position. No matter, forget all the semantics and everything outside of it. In the scene that we saw, that Jenna wasn't really having a conversation with Dean. Dean got upset with Jenna, and the way he handled it just could have been better. Everything outside of that, I agree with totally.
I agree.
And it's weird though, this show, as we see in the next episode, sometimes they're all friends and they're talking all tight, and then sometimes they hate each other's guts. And so it's...
And that just goes to show that, because the thing is, you have to, again, it goes back, you have to live together. You have to live with one another. And it's like, you know, when you have a family, you think about it, if you're in a family situation and you have at odds with, you know, family members, you don't agree with some of the things that you do. Yeah, you'll still be cordial with them because they're your family. At the end of the day, you love them, but you're not always going to agree with them. And I think with them, they're in a pseudo family living in this house. But one thing is, you have to look at when you see someone that is oppressive, or that is being oppressed time and time again in their entire life. It's just like if you constantly had someone that was dealing with an alcohol addiction or what have you, and then you continue having alcohol in their face and they ignore it because they're like, I'm not touching that because I know what it'll do to me. After a while, it's very difficult. And again, not agreeing with how everything went down, but I understand why it went down like it did. That's all I'm saying.
That's fair.
Yeah,
fair.
I just understand why
Totally.
it went down. But again, I do appreciate the moment. We see that Dion's mom calls and says that he should end it with Amanda, right? And he's the whole time, you know, she's there. He's just like, I don't know. She wants to go to Indonesia with him.
Bali, he mentions Bali.
Right, exactly. And he's just like, I don't know. I do appreciate, though, that CJ did apologize to Kayla for what she did. And I commend CJ for what she's gone through already, and she's still willing to apologize and still try to be the better person. Kayla also apologizes to Dean, which I thought was dope. And then you have Amanda and the Carneys are leaving, and CJ's crying. So she's literally like, she bonded with these people.
Well, we also glossed over the Kayla getting called out by Amanda when she tells her little girl take a seat.
Oh,
they almost come to blows.
Yeah. Well,
so it's not that important, but we saw they almost came to blows. I appreciated, though, Kayla finally standing up for herself, and she says in the confessional, like, oh, I screwed your man, and now I get mad. That's the thing. Sometimes Kayla's on, you know, innocent and kind of laid back, and then sometimes the feisty Kayla comes out where she really puts it on the table.
Well, I think that whole situation, I think she was definitely the better person with her and Amanda, simply because she could have easily been like, you're in my house, why are you acting all crazy? Which she came around, remember, she was stomping and trying to wake everybody up to get attention.
Yeah, that
was crazy. That was crazy.
And
she could have went bad. Yeah, she could have went bad on her, but it was the part that she said, you know, little girl, and of course, you know, Amanda's trying to pick a fight. Of course. Oh, little girl. Oh, and she goes back. Of course. So yeah, but I appreciate Kayla in that moment. And then Dion finally, you know, tells Amanda that she doesn't want to be in a relationship.
Sure.
And so I think that was good for him to do.
I think it was smart of him to do that.
So we get into the mission, and we find out that the mission is they have to stay out in the desert for 24 hours. They only have a set amount of supplies that they can use, and they do have a blowhorn that they can use, but if they do, then they leave the game, right? And so the twist is that they see this guy coming, right? And they're like, oh, there's one more thing. This guy comes, and they're sitting at the desert. They get, find this out, and they go out to the desert. So they're sitting there, and there's this guy coming, and basically the guy that's talking, he says, this is Dylan, and this is potentially your new roommate. If he can last the 24 hours with you, then he's going to be the 8th roommate. At first, I thought it was like somebody's boyfriend, or, you know what I'm saying, like somebody that was come just to bring more drama. But it was actually a new roommate. And because, of course, the name of this this particular season is Go Big or Go Home. And see, no one has gone home yet. And then we've known that there's been people waiting in the wings to take someone's place. So I think this was a way for them to let's just spice some stuff up. Let's just throw somebody in there, even though no one's gone. Let's just add another person. And so the ladies take to him. They like him, find out he's also a stripper. And then they're starting to, on their quest, the 24 hours, and CJ immediately tells them, oh yeah, Jenna's a racist. Just want to throw that out there. And
hold on, two things, because we're moving episodes here. First, the way that the Carney crew leaves, really weird to me, because it was there was no really showing it. Just Amanda got keys to another place. Dion left. She went in a door. They didn't leave the house. It was really weird. I thought that was an odd way to show us that they were just disappearing. Because it went from a night out at the club to Amanda, the conversation with Dion, and then it was like they had another hotel on the Strip or something. I thought that was just weird.
The Carney crew.
It's just Carney. This is weird. I
Yeah.
don't think we need any more Carney crew on the Real World. And then Go Big or Go Home is the name of this season, and I don't know, maybe it's because I also host for Survivor. Shout out to the Survivor crew, but they do 3 nights out, that no problem. Is it really a test to just have 24 hours with a new roommate, just to be in the woods? Like, they didn't have to do anything.
Well,
just stay
I was just gonna ask you, because when I watched it, I was like, yo, this is really soft.
It was
like,
so soft.
This is like, I mean, and I'm thinking like maybe they have to do things, but and then literally they only showed it for like 5 minutes because there was nothing to it.
They just had to be not in the house for a night.
Yeah, in the desert, and they had food. And they were eating MREs, which I've had before. I was in the military.
Yeah.
And some of them were actually pretty good. I know Jenna was like, she was like loving. She's like, oh, the jalapeno cheese, it's really tasty. That cheese spread is goes hard.
Okay.
No, it does. It does. But yeah, it was nothing to that. And to be honest, like the whole season, I think there hasn't really been anything crazy. I thought this was going to be it. But there hasn't been, I mean, probably the only thing I think that pushed them to the limits was when they had to climb up that mountain.
The hike.
And what had completed in 90 minutes, right.
Hike.
And what was it, Kayla? That was
she's basically, they're like forced her to drink. She got hungover, so it was difficult. But the normal people were like, oh, it's fine.
Right, it's no problem.
They could have just said, hey, this is Dylan, your new roommate. Right. Welcome to the house. We're going to show you some interesting semantics now. So I don't know, but I just wanted to touch on that because it's go big or go home. It should not.
It's kind of like go medium.
Do you guys think they're going big? I mean, what do you guys think? Tell us in the chat.
Someone says preach, go camping and go home.
Yeah,
so
not even. It was glamping. That wasn't even camping.
Like, go medium.
Maybe
go average or go home.
Like, come on, MTV.
Yeah, it's been and maybe that's why it's because they gave us 2 episodes. Maybe they're trying to rush through it and get to the next one. I don't know, but that's the one thing. It's like what's going on is not really matching with the name of the show.
No.
Just as it is. But anyway, we see Dylan now. So now Dylan's in the mix.
And immediately the girls are fawning over him. All the girls, whether they needed another guy, basically. And now there's literally hope for all females. Sabrina, Kayla, Jenna, CJ. They all think, oh, he's a good looking dude. Yeah. He's sharp. And so he's here. Welcome to the crew.
Right. He's there. And so it's funny because they actually... Jenna takes to him. I think the 2 that take to him the most is Jenna and we have Kayla, right? And so Dylan kind of sees what's going on with Jenna, and he actually takes to Jenna, and he talks one-on-one with her, and he tells her that he's on her side, and basically. And then she tells, the girls that Dylan really likes her and has a girlfriend. And I think it's funny because Jenna is like, everybody she talks to is like, he's in love with me.
Yes.
He's like, he tells that to the girls. She tells that to her mom. Like, he's just, he's in love with me. He just, he loves her. I don't know what to do.
Jenna's perception was a little off. I mean, clearly he's not in love with her.
Very off.
He took to her. He said some nice things. I think she oversold that to her. I think at that point, though, she's beaten down. She's clearly a little bit misguided. She's been beaten down on the show. So at this point, she's trying to make herself feel good. The problem that I have with all of this in general this season and recently is, so she's telling CJ and Kayla in the bathroom about the night with Dylan, what he said to her, and she's selling it how if she really believes in her head that he likes her that much at that point. Maybe they didn't show us things that he said, but it didn't seem like that's what came out of it. But it seems like, okay, you guys are not on the same page, and you're giving away this information that this seems a little bit much. It's just weird to me, really, because I mean, immediately CJ and Kayla are gonna use that information and talk to other people, and it's just a continuous flow of drama and it's just weird to me, really.
Well, I think with the whole Jenna situation is, first of all, she has the issue that she has with her boyfriend back home, right? He's not wanting to talk to her. She hasn't seen him. She said it's been over a month, so they've been in the house over a month. She hasn't seen him, hasn't talked to him, only email because he doesn't want to be a part of the show. And so she's dealing with that because also the fact that she's an outcast in the house, so she doesn't have the outlet. Everyone else has kind of outlets they can kind of reach out to. And she doesn't have that. And so now she has this guy who's giving her attention, who says that he's going to be with her, you know, and kind of, you know, and by with her, being with her is just, you know, I'm gonna roll with you, you know, it's just gonna be us, and I'll make sure that we hang out and you know, that we do things and all this kind of stuff going on. And so she's just taking that and she's running to the hills with it and is already planning like a wedding almost. And basically with the whole I'm just saying.
I wouldn't go that far.
Well, what I mean is like the fact that she's saying that he's in love with her.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
there's no way. And they even call him out because they're like, yo, this has been like less than a week. Like, how are you going to be, you know,
like 2 days.
Yeah. How are you going to be saying all these things? And it's only been less than a week. Like, stop it.
I think they're playing it up for the cameras in general. But one thing I did like about Dylan's arrival is he said something, and I agree totally with Dylan on this. He said that he noticed kind of the dynamics of everybody, the personality. He said he can read situations, he could read everyone, he could kind of get along with everyone. But he said that the situation, he said he forms his own opinions. I think that's very important in life and in general, and no matter what the scenario is, that you form your own opinions. You don't follow other opinions. You form whatever you believe, and you let it be your own opinion, not because someone else told you to be some way. And I appreciate that because he came into a situation and he said, I'm going to give everyone a chance. I'm going to see. And who knows what's going to continue. I really don't. I mean, we're going to have to see. But I appreciated just that he said he formed his own opinions. Because it's really easy to come in and gang up on people and take sides because other people are doing it. And this is just in general in life. And I appreciated that he said he forms his own opinion.
Well, the one thing that was interesting is he had mentioned when they were all eating during that one time, and they were kind of, you know, you saw the divide, right? And you saw how she was just the outcast. And basically he's telling himself, he's like, yo, if I side with her, then the rest of the house is going to kind of be against me.
It's not his best move.
Right. But in the end, he's like, yo, this is how I feel with her. I'm going to go ahead and rock with her. So basically, he's kind of just taking his chances with that because of how he feels drawn to her. And I think a lot of that, too, is just feeling bad for her because of that. Because to be honest, I think if Kayla, because he was feeling both of them, I think if Kayla and Jenna's roles were switched, and it was Kayla was the one that was the outcast and Jenna was the one that was cool with everybody, I think he would have probably sided with Kayla. Just my opinion, because of how everything was going down. Like I said, he was attracted to both of them, but he sided with Jenna. And I think also because they had kind of the same dynamic with each having a significant other, that they're kind of like, I don't know if I want to be with them in this experience and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's where the camaraderie and the bond happened. But anyway, it's going to be interesting to see what happens next. One thing to point out, the guys did have another mission, and that was for Dylan and Dean, and that they had to strip for this group from Sapphire. So that was like the challenge. And we know Dylan is already a stripper, so that was nothing for him. Dean seemed to have some really good moves.
He calls himself Malcolm Sex.
Oh my gosh.
That's a great name.
That is a terrible name.
That's a great name.
It's the most terriblest name I've ever heard.
Malcolm Sex.
Malcolm Sex. Yeah. Anyway, I can't even say it with a straight face. Like, really. But he does, you know, the house loves it. You know, he does do a good job. And then, this is interesting. And this is where it's like, okay, these kids are young. So you see Jenna wants Dylan to break up with his girlfriend, right? I mean, she says that. And he actually calls her. Her name's Brittany. And he's like, yeah, so, you know, she's like happy to hear from him. Hey, what's up? And he's like, yeah, so I kissed a girl. He's mentioning, you know, talking about Kayla, which they kissed twice, by the way. We didn't say that, but he kissed her twice. Hadn't done anything with Jenna, but did kiss Kayla twice. But, you know, Jenna's the one he's feeling. Tells her that. So basically, he breaks up with her.
Well, hello, Brittany. If you watch the after show or you watch MTV, can I just say that he just told you that he made out with a girl, and then you say, "Can I trust you?"
Yeah, there was a little loss in that moment. There was a little loss in that moment.
Hello, wake up.
A little loss in that moment.
So then he's like, it's silence, quiet. He's like, no, I mean, we're going to break up.
Right.
Now, I think he was smart, too. The way he forms his own opinions, and he then decided to choose a great time to break up with his girlfriend, right when it's his birthday. Great time to celebrate.
Right.
So I like that he was man enough, though. He knows the whole national TV component, and he's thinking ahead. Like, this is going to come out.
Right.
I'm not going to be quiet about it and deal with it later. He dealt with it immediately in the sense that I'm going to take care of this issue. Obviously, I think he did it because he knew he had these other options.
Of course.
He wants to explore them, and that's fine. But I liked how a lot of people in that scenario, they wait till they're off the show, and they won't, because it takes some guts to be able to do that. So I appreciated that he just went. I mean, obviously he had things in the bag, so it's a little bit easier on that scenario.
Sure.
But it was cool that he at least.
It's better to break up than to cheat, basically.
To confront the issue. Take care of it before instead of covering it up until it's going to come out.
And the thing is, he was only with her 3 months. So it wasn't like this long-term type situation. I don't think he had any real ties. So he comes out there, and realistically, I don't think there was a lot of emotional connection.
I don't think so. You're right.
It was easier for him to do it. He didn't seem like he had a lot of remorse. He didn't get emotional. Like, nothing like that happened. And, of course, there's editing there, but it didn't even seem like she was, like, tripping too hard. Like,
it's
okay, that's how you feel.
After he told you that. The thing is, after he told you made out with a girl, like, hang up the phone.
It's in 3 months. It's in 3 months. But the thing is, Jenna did not break up with her dude.
Jenna did not.
And also, and this is where Jenna's dirty in the sense that she felt great that he was doing this. And it's just like, I understand, like, this is your ace. Like, this is the one person that you feel like you can kind of vibe with now. Everyone else has kind of shot you down. But at the end of the day, like, you shouldn't take pride or take happiness, I should say, in the fact that somebody is going to be like, oh, you know, because her thing was all about her. She's like, oh, he's going to break up with his girlfriend for me, you know. Nothing to do with the fact that he just didn't want to be with her or what have you. But she was just like, oh, it's all for me and he loves me and da-da-da. And I'm like, and that's when they called her out. I was like, or not called her out, but was saying, like, it's been less than a week. Like, realistically, like, let's really think about this. It's been less than a week. He does not love you. Like, stop it.
No, I mean, he certainly doesn't love her.
No, but she was saying that several. She was saying that several times. She said that multiple times in this episode.
She did mention that he loved her. So she embellishes a little bit.
A little bit.
I mean, a lot. Whatever. She embellishes. The thing is that Dylan likes her.
No, he does. No, he likes her. He does like her.
Forget Jenna for a second and talk about Kayla, though, because it seems like to me that Kayla's kind of being taken advantage of, but she doesn't. There's something about Kayla that I feel a little sad about, because Dion was able to kind of get in, get out. Mm-hmm. She let it happen again, kind of with Dylan. Like, she was ready. Dylan, you just do what you want.
But she also puts herself out there like that. That's the thing. She puts herself out there.
And then she loses. And then it's like, after the fact, she's like, well, if I would have known this, I wouldn't have done this. But it's kind of a double. I feel like she says she wouldn't do it, like, after they're off of her.
Right.
And then she kind of feels like it's almost like she's being used and abused and then thrown away. And then she realizes it. Because I feel like she's smart. She's got a good head on her shoulders. Mm-hmm. She seems like a sweet girl. And it seems like she puts herself into situations with the people that she doesn't take a step back or at least focus on a little bit of time. Like, she's like, Dylan likes me, or if he wants to keep kissing me, cool. And then the next thing you know, Dylan is off with Jenna. Right. And then Kayla is like, well, if I would have known, then I wouldn't be with him. So maybe she needs to look in the mirror and say, maybe she's got to think about who she's choosing or what she's choosing.
But she's an adult. I mean, granted,
she can do whatever she wants. Don't get me wrong.
They're all young.
It seems like she doesn't come out the winner of
She doesn't.
scenarios.
Well, and that's the thing. It's just like when you do, and it's just like anything. This is like, you know, outside of this house situation, let's look at the real world outside of this show. You know, if you were going to, you know, meet somebody and get involved with them very quickly or sleep with them very quickly, there's going to be a lack of respect on the other end. That's what it is. And I think with her, it's like she wants it and she's like, oh, I want it. Like, I mean, she was, you know, taking her top off and she was doing all these things. And so it was like, there was, you know, she was putting it out there. Like, and that's the thing. You put it out there, then it's like you're going to get taken advantage of. And that's just the bottom line. So if she hasn't realized it now, she's going to realize it later, or it's going to hit her. But bottom line is, I don't think there should be anybody feeling sorry for her because
no.
Because she knows what she's doing.
I just wish that she would think about her exactly. Someone says Kayla's a little pathetic. I don't think pathetic is the right word, but I feel like that scenario can be. Mm-hmm. I could see how people think that because she's kind of being taken.
Again, she's putting herself out there. That's all I'm going to say.
She's doing it to herself. Don't get me wrong. She's
doing it to herself.
I just would like to see, because she seems like she's a sweet girl and she means well. And we've seen sides of her I really like. Mm-hmm. And not that I don't like this side of her. I just feel bad for her almost sometimes.
Absolutely. All right, so they all go out for his birthday after he dumps the girl, his ex-girl.
Sorry, Brittany.
And then Dylan and Jenna show happen. They start getting very flirty. He's kind of making his choice. He's making his move. And then we see them kiss on the escalator going down. And then it closes out. So let's quickly get into predictions because we got like 2 minutes left. And then we'll get it cracking. And then go. Oh, we get it.
And now,
okay.
your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
All right, Mr. Mike, going forward, what are you thinking?
I think someone's going home next week.
Really?
I do.
Interesting.
We've seen a new roommate. Seems like there's room for someone to leave, maybe. We got 2 episodes of just someone coming, so we could be in line for someone to leave. There has been heightened tensions, drama. It's not gone away, even though they may have edited it a little bit differently. But I think that there's someone going to go home next week.
Interesting. That's an interesting prediction. I think I don't think anyone's going to go home quite yet. If they do, it wouldn't be the next episode, in my opinion. I do think it's going to, the whole situation now that Dylan and Jenna are kind of getting, with each other or whatever. I think that that's going to create some dissension in the house. Not that there already is dissension. I mean, let's keep it real. But I think that's going to create a further divide now with Dylan, because he even said it himself. If I take her side, now everybody's going to be against me. So I think it's going to be like this Bonnie and Clyde thing with them two against the rest of the house or against the world. And so it'll be interesting how that dynamic sets. I do think there's going to be more drama, because I think now that, well, first of all, Jenna's in a better place now that she's got him. So, but I don't think that's going to curb her actions towards other people. I still think, if nothing else, is going to be even heightened, because now she's like, well, I got a support system. Before I was by myself. Now I got somebody that's got my back and somebody that likes me for me and all this kind of stuff. So I think it's going to even make it worse. So it'll be interesting, but I want to see a good challenge. I want to see a challenge that's going to, somebody's going to have to go home.
Something exciting.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, right now. I'm a little disappointed in this season.
Yeah. But we'll see. I think we're gonna get it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's been our show. We want to thank you so much for tuning in and recapping with us. I've been your host, Lim Gonsalves. You can find me all day, every day at The Poet Saint. Mike, where you at?
Thank you, Lim. Thank you guys so much for joining in. You could find me right here at Mike Rips on Twitter, Instagram. It's right there. You can see it. If you're listening, it's at Mike Rips. I'll see you next time.
It's at Mike Rips. Next week we will be back, and I'm excited. Be with us. Until next time.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.